Hi all, this is the 8th video in the series that is about Aristotle's Poetics, and in this video I would like to discuss part 7 and part 8 of Poetics text. And let us see what part 7 talks about. As I have already told, the text that I mentioned actually gives title for each part and every section also. That is 5 sections as well as the different 26 parts are with the title. So it's really good that we get an idea, a whole idea about what it is about, all about. And part 7, it is titled Proper Length of Tragic Play. Proper length of a tragic play. Let us see, there is proper structure of the plot and tragedy, that is as an imitation of an action, that is complete and whole, that is wanting in magnitude. All these come under the discussion of tragedy, and the definition itself we have seen all these components, but we'll have to go for an elaborate discussion or understanding of these. That will be better. And the tragedy, as we know, it is an imitation of an action which is complete and whole, that is wanting in magnitude. Now let us go with the term magnitude and what he means, what Aristotle means by that, so that we will have a better understanding of what he means by the length of a tragic play. How can we determine that, or is that particular or that strict length determined for a tragedy? Let us see. So what do you mean by a whole? It should be a complete whole. That is there is a mentioning in the very definition. And what does he mean by this? Why the whole? That is, the whole is that which has a beginning, middle and an end. That's the only very simple idea we get from this term whole. Aristotle elaborates it to be, it's with a tragic play should be with a proper beginning, a middle and an end. And now for the far better deciphering of that, let us see this. What do you mean by a beginning? A proper beginning is meant, it means that which does not itself follow anything by casual necessity, but after which something naturally is or comes to be. That is, it begins somewhere so that it does not follow anything, because that is the very beginning. Before that something was there which is not told, and we are confused why it begins in this way and what this beginning is about. All these confusion should not occur. So that beginning should be something better in the mode of having a continuity, and something is following that. At the same time, it should not be following anything. That means it should not be a continuity. It should not make us feel that it is the continuation of something. Okay. And what do you mean by an end? Before going to the middle, the definition of middle, let us talk about the end. An end, it means which itself naturally follows some other things. That is obviously the middle part. It follows, and either by necessity or as a rule, but has nothing following it. That should be a proper end in itself, and that should not be that we should not feel that of, oh, this is not ended there, something is missing, and why did that writer end it there, why it is like this end is like given in this way, or I have wasted my time watching this tragedy, I didn't get an idea how this come in that way, how did that character how is that character affect, how the character gets affected in that. So all these answers, if those are left unanswered, this is not a proper end. But in an end, exactly in the traditional sense of Aristotelian tragic definition, these mean this. That is it. The end, it is the natural, it follows, naturally it follows something either by necessity, that is obviously middle after we come to the end of the tragedy, that is a necessity, or as a rule, but has nothing following it. That is the main thing. That means it should not be open-ended. Talking about Aristotelian sense of tragedy, not about every dramatic writing or even the tragedy of the present days. We cannot insist, but according to Aristotle, please keep in mind every discussion, every rule we talk on behalf of Aristotle's discussion or Poetics, and in the context of Poetics, reference of Poetics, it is just about Aristotle's view, but most of those were taken for granted. There was a time, or even now, we cannot say that all these rules are nowadays thrown away, and something better or something contradictory to these are followed now. Nowadays also there may be people who are following or who prefer to follow the rules given by such a thinker. And then what about the middle? The middle is that which follows something as some other thing follows it. So middle, of course, it follows something. The beginning we get some incidents, and the middle obviously follows those things, and then as some other thing follows it, of course from the middle we'll have to go to the end. So this is following as well as followed by some other connected incidents. This is the way Aristotle gives the idea of beginning, middle and end, and how these three together comprise the complete whole of a play, or the complete whole structure of a play. And now, a well constructed plot therefore must neither begin nor end at haphazard, but conform to these principles. So he prefers these well constructed plots, or the commendable plots, to stick to these kind of the notions of beginning, middle and end. That should not be haphazard, and it should not be like something left untold, or something left unanswered. All these feelings should not be evoked in the viewers because of some unanswered and unlikely situations inserted or incorporated as part of the structure of the play. And now a beautiful object to talk about the beauty of a plot, that is orderly arrangement. Now it is about the magnitude and order that can constitute the beauty of the plot. That is, obviously it should be orderly arrangement. Later in modern times, with the modernism and many other writing techniques that got introduced with the modernism, postmodernism, we have a lot of writing techniques like stream of consciousness narration, and again narrative frameworks that incorporate different experimentation. But that time actually Aristotle preferred, in the case of the plot and all, as beautiful and orderly arrangement of a certain magnitude. That is certain magnitude. That is again another term that we have to discuss in a very detailed manner. That certain magnitude, he means, just think about a huge organism. It may be beautiful in itself, but the beauty we cannot comprehend at the single look, because its eyes are beautiful. As you just think about an animal, a double an animal with a what you call, or just think about a whale, not about a double the size of some non-animal like elephant. I wanted to talk about that, but just think about a whale. And we always talk about the beauty of eyes. Just think about how a person, a human being, can comprehend the beauty of the two eyes of this animal together. Because if you have to look at the whale's eye from this side, again you come back to the other side to see the other part, because it is so huge. That is, we cannot comprehend it in one view, and that is the problem with something really big. And just think about constructing a plot also, carrying too much of stuff and too much of pages and too much of incidents. Those parts, the incidents, all those narrations may be beautiful in itself, but the problem is when you make it into a whole, then it will become incomprehensible for the human faculty. That is, we are human beings. It is meant for the audience of different kinds, so that we have to keep an average. We have to expect them to be an average audience every time. We cannot expect all the audience to be with the highest faculty of understanding and appreciation. so that we find it very difficult to comprehend the huge animal, as we find out it very difficult to view the whole beauty together in a huge animal which is beyond our eyesight, the capturing power of our eyesight, because it is all of a sudden we cannot see it in full length, full form. That is the problem. And again, just think about another tiny, very tiny object, very tiny organism, then also the same difficulty occurs, because as the eyes cannot take it all, we cannot see it completely well, because each and every minute part of the animal may be beautiful, but yes, we have to pay too much attention, pay too much effort to see at least that in whole. So, this is the problem with the size which is beyond a limit, or the size which is less than a limit. So, what is meant, what is required? It should be of a certain magnitude, that means easily can easily be comprehended by the human view. So, that unity and sense of the whole is lost for the spectator in such cases, and so the plot a certain length is necessary, and a length which can be easily embraced by the memory. That is it, easily embraced by the memory. That is the term preferred by Aristotle, because it should be embraced. We should be capable of embracing only if the plot is of an amiable length. We as a whole audience, we could make it comprehensible and understand it in a proper way. And a proper magnitude is comprised within such limits that the sequence of events according to the law of probability or necessity will admit of a change from bad fortune to good, or from good fortune to bad. That is according to whether the plot is meant to be a comedy or tragedy. It is either from bad to good or good to bad fortune, but obviously in a tragedy it should be from good to bad, we know for sure. And that is the way in which this discussion comes to an end with part 7 of Aristotle's Poetics. Now, in this section, I would like to talk about part 8 also. That is a very short part which talks about the unity of plot. Part 8 is about unity of plot. So, let us see what Aristotle tells about. Being an imitation of an action must imitate one action, and that a whole, the structural union of the parts being such that if any one of them is displaced or removed, the whole will be disjointed, and you are disturbed. For a thing whose presence or absence makes no visible differences is not an organic part of the whole. So, what does he mean by this unity of the plot? He means that, of course, you are representing, or you are giving importance to one character, one particular hero, especially in the case of a tragedy, so that as a human being, many incidents occur in the life of the person, not just 1 or 2 or 3 incidents on a day. But as we already know the importance of limiting the length, we cannot add all the incidents that are part of the man's life or the character's life. So, what is really needed? It is about adding only the very important and very crucial incidents that are immediately connected with the plot, so that those incidents are compactly packed. Those are highly relevant to every single moment of the portrayal of the character's life. And again, that implies if one incident, one part, one scene is removed, any of the part is displaced or removed, the whole of the plot will be disjointed. That means it is selected in that with that much perfection, so that any kind of movement or removal or displacement in the play means something really disturbing, and it is about the whole structure of the play that we can assure the whole in this way also, the unity of the plot in this way, by selecting only the better and the best incident which are immediately connected. Not just the best means not what is preferable for our comfortable thought or comfortable view, but about what we mean in the context of representing a whole life story, the life story of a human being, and how the incidents which the writer chooses are immediately connected with the main plot and theme. Otherwise, sometimes we feel, even if it is not a tragedy, some visual other art forms, when we see some scenes, we also have the feeling, why this kind of a scene is incorporated, why it is shown here in this way. It is not at all relevant to the main plot. So that tendency to judge some scenes in that way, it still persists. It's not just about tragedy, but Aristotle was very particular about the selection of incidents and to make the requirement of making it in a complete whole with a structured plot, and this is the secret of doing that, or this is the main idea or method of doing that. The selection and the combination matters a lot in this regard, and that's all with the part 8 of Aristotle's Poetics. Thank you.